Something I find really funny is in social situations, I tend to clam up. I might not be as talkative, my expression shuts down, I adopt a flat affect, flat expression. I might talk in short sentences or a monotone. Sometimes it's because of sensory overwhelm. I'm getting overloaded on all channels. The light is too bright, the room is too noisy or too crowded, there are too many distractions, and retreating into this bratty resting face is just how I cope. Sometimes it's a retreat from emotion into alexithymia, this difficulty feeling, expressing, communicating, connecting with other people emotionally. It's a defense mechanism because in many social situations, barring these sensory inputs that overwhelm me, I'm anticipating some form of attack. I have a history, like many neurodivergents, of sometimes saying and doing or acting in a way that's deemed socially inappropriate or offensive or hurtful, and having somebody jump down my throat and tell me what I did and why I did it, and assuming all my intentions and projecting their own insecurities, ideas about what my intentions are onto me, and without giving me any grace or chance to defend or explain myself or why I might have said or done something, not understanding that there might have been a completely different reason to what they've assumed or intuited, and because of the double empathy problem, just by default judging, criticizing, and punishing me. Rather than understanding that we have different points of view and different ways of communicating and being and showing up in the world, and that there are going to be misunderstandings and that giving grace is necessary. And often I find I have to live with one foot in both worlds, the neurotypical and the neurodivergent world, being my authentic self, but then also trying to package myself in a way that is easily understood and not misunderstood, or having my actions misconstrued by neurotypicals, anticipating the ways that they might misinterpret or misread or project the wrong intention onto me, and adding clarifying statements, prefacing stuff with explanations, not choosing certain language, keeping sentences very simple so that it doesn't get too complex or overwhelming, or there's less margin for misinterpretation. Making all these micro adjustments on the fly takes a lot of cognitive labor, but I have to do it because if I'm in the neurotypical world, there's a chance they'll misunderstand me and project their own reading of a situation onto me, and I won't get the chance to explain myself. And I understand that that is a requirement. I don't feel resentment about it. I feel like it's like being bilingual. It's a skill that you have to cultivate, and I wish that the people around me could cultivate that, but sometimes it's too much of an expectation because of neurotypical privilege. They assume that their way of showing up and being is the norm, and everybody else should conform to it, and they can't even conceptualize that there might be other ways of being, thinking, or communicating. But again, this retreat into bratty resting face is a defense mechanism because I'm anticipating attack. I'm anticipating something going wrong and then somebody coming at me. It's easier to be flat with your expression and your intonation because there's less margin for misinterpretation, and it feels less vulnerable when you go to the extreme of, or what feels like an extreme as a neurodivergent, to unmask and then show up and be authentic and be hyperactive and express things that might, the wrong emotion at the wrong time, which is often the risk, to blur a thought that happens to come into your head, to it just puts you at too much risk. And even on my best guard, I'm still anticipating, even my best form, I'm still anticipating an attack. I'm still anticipating that I'm going to say or do something that's deemed inappropriate. So this kind of closing down and that retreat and that minimal communication and minimal facial expression or body language or whatever it is, it's like one way to reduce the amount of factors at play that could lead to this misinterpretation happening. And then I run the risk of that person interpreting my bratty resting face as me being angry, being a curmudgeon, being irritated. And sometimes I am experiencing one of those things. I am experiencing overwhelm, but I'm keeping it to myself because I know that it is my problem to deal with. And if I outwardly express it, people are going to look at me like askance. What is wrong with you? Why are you behaving that way? Everybody else is managing to cope with this. Why are you so sensitive? Why are you reacting to this? The sunlight is not too bright. The room is not too noisy. This busyness is fun. It's stimulating. Why are you finding it overwhelming? And so it's my way of protecting myself, but then it can lead to those misinterpretations and people misreading me. And I've had many experiences where people have said, "Are you okay? You seem angry. You seem upset. You seem mad. You seemed judgmental. You seemed hostile." And I was like, "Sorry, I'm conveying that. I'm fine. I'm just containing everything and controlling and managing and moderating the overwhelm that I'm experiencing. This is my way of retreating and managing it." And So it feels often like I'm being pulled between two extremes. I have to socially perform, but then not rub people the wrong way and not cross some often invisible line that neurotypicals have set in a lot of the social interactions. And then I have to kind of balance my needs, my overwhelm, and not let it out. And so it's a balancing act, and it can feel very overwhelming at any given time. And I think underlying that is this tension of fear or anxiety or apprehension that somebody's going to come at me, and then accuse me of saying or doing something, infer an intention that wasn't there, lash out, or they might not even convey it to me. They might suddenly, like, after the interaction, ignore me, drop me, ghost me, flake, come out with an accusation, and then I'll be like, I didn't see this coming at all, and I don't want to be vulnerable going forward because this is going to happen again and again, and I can't anticipate it. Thankfully, with time and experience, I've accumulated a history of experiences that I then use as the basis of understanding how to socially interact, and it's taken me a long time to accumulate that, and I'm still learning. I'll go into a new or novel situation and find I'm suddenly at a loss because I have no template for how to interact or deal with this interaction or this style of communication or this conversational topic. And so it's not as much a struggle anymore, but I still live with that. And it's a complex trauma thing that you live with this fear or anticipation of attack. And it's hardwired in and it's what keeps you on your toes and constantly assessing and being hyper vigilant in your social environment, is preempting and trying to avoid this happening, because you don't want to deal with the negative feelings that come up from that person. You don't want to negatively impact them, and you also don't want to deal with your negative feelings when they attack you, and then you feel defensive, shut down, judged, or punished. It's often exhausting to socialize for this reason, and this complex trauma is always shadowing your every step, making you stay on your toes, and it can make social interactions that much less fun. Have you experienced this fear of being attacked in social situations and shut down as a result in some way, retreated, being less expressive, being on guard all the time? I would love to hear all about your experiences.